3 months. So you're told Jackie Limited is a company based in France where the euro is widely used. The company has recently imported raw materials from the USA. So we have imported raw materials, brought in raw, so you'll be required to pay, imported, and has been invoiced for US dollars to 40,000, payable in 3 months' time. So, ladies and gentlemen, I can see we have a payable there, 3 months' time, 3 months' time. We have a payable of 240,000 US dollar. And then they're telling us that in addition, in the next paragraph, the company has exported finished goods to the USA and Australia. The customer in the USA has been invoiced for US dollar 69,000. So what do you think of this 69,000? Is it a receivable to us as a company or a payable by ourselves? The 69,000, what do you think of it? 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 It's a receivable simply because we exported goods. You should never be cheated by the words there. We exported goods, and when we export goods, ladies and gentlemen, we expect to do what? We expect to receive. We are told, in addition, the company has exported finished goods to the USA and Australia. The customer in the USA has been invoiced for US dollar 69,000. So in this case, it's a receivable. It's a receivable. A receivable when within how many months? 3 months. Because you must put all transactions for the same period together. You must lump them together. And the Australian customer has been invoiced Australian dollar 395,000 payable in 4 months. 4 months, that is not ours really. So ladies and gentlemen, listen and listen to me very well. Whenever you are given this kind of transactions that are happening in the same period, they must be combined. You must come and net them off. So in this case here, give us the net amount. Give us the net amount. So the net amount receivable is 69,000. Payable, of course, it's money out. It's a cash outflow. Cash outflow, payable. So minus 240,000. Is there somebody who is able to give me, ladies and gentlemen? Is there somebody who is able to give me the net amount to write here? The net amount to write here, the net amount to write here, the net amount to write here. Is there anybody who is able to give me the net amount to write here? So many students have always asked me, how do I pass this paper? I always tell them in Zoom, be active. Be active in Zoom, and you'll never have issues. So it is 171,000. Instead of putting a negative outflow, you simply tell us it's a net what year. At the end of the day, this figure is a payable. At the end of the day, this figure is what year is a payable. But instead of putting negative, right? It's a payable. It's a payable. Negative means cash outflow. So are we together, ladies and gentlemen? Up to here, are we together? Up to here, are we together? Up to here, are we together? Are we together up to here? Are we together up to here? Yes. Thank you so much. So, ladies and gentlemen, this is money market that you're doing here. The moment we discover that we have been able to get the amount here correctly like this for 3 months, then what do you think would be the next thing that we should be able to do? Somebody talked to me this morning. What do you think in this case here should be the thing to be done? The rule. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, David. The rule, yes. The rule. Remember, money market, we've got 2 rules. Money market, we've got 2 rules. And for some reason, especially some ladies, they think that money market is all about foreign boyfriend. No. There are 2 rules. We also have the local guy here. So here, because these are payable, which rule should I use? Which rule should I use, Kips? Which rule should I use here? Which rule should I use here, somebody? Which rule should I use here? Which rule should I use? These are payable. We are hedging this lump sum amount together, which happens to be a payable. So in this case here, which rule should I use? Foreign boyfriend. So in this case here is for foreign payment, you borrow local, and then remember anything local, this gentleman, this local boyfriend can even sell you. These people are bad. These people are bad. These people are bad. These people are bad. So foreign payment, You borrow local. Have you written this thing in full somewhere? Foreign payment, you borrow local. Borrow local. Foreign payment, because it's a payable, I'm going to borrow what here? Local. So remember, we have got two currencies. We have got two currencies involved. We have the euro and then we have the dollar. So remember, Jackie Limited is based in which country? You can write even the first letter of that country. It's based in which country? Jackie is based in France. Which in this case, ladies and gentlemen, makes use of which currency? Jackie's Limited is domiciled. The country of Jackie, ladies and gentlemen, in this case here is France, which uses the euro. So in this case here, this is the local currency. According to Jackie, this is the local currency. The dollar now becomes what here? Foreign. Now, ladies and gentlemen, listen. For any foreign payments, like now here, they are required here to make a payment of 171,000 US dollar. It's a foreign payment. We shall borrow local. So you're saying, therefore, Jackies will borrow what here? Will borrow the local currency. Will borrow local currency. Will borrow local currency. Will borrow local currency. Will borrow local currency, which is what here, somebody? Which is the euro. So remember, ladies and gentlemen, that we have got two rules here. We have number one, we have a rule we call foreign what here? We have a rule we call foreign receivable. In this case here, you borrow foreign currency. And then we have, so this is what we call the foreign boyfriend. Foreign boyfriend buys dinner. And then we have number two, ladies and gentlemen, what we call the foreign payment. In this case here, you borrow what here? You borrow local. So remember, this foreign boyfriend is a nice boyfriend. They'll buy dinner. How about this local boyfriend? The local boyfriend in this case here will sell you. These two things are very important. You may think I'm joking with these crazy jokes here, but buying dinner, very important. And this local boyfriend's ability to sell you is so important. Great. So, of course, those of you who are not there when we were teaching this will float a little bit, but in no time, you guys will become experts in this thing. Ladies and gentlemen, we are in agreement that Jackie's Limited will borrow the local currency. So then if that is the case, ladies and gentlemen, I appreciate what the next step will be. The next step, of course, here is to come and draw what here? The next step is to come and draw our great table. If it's a money markets question, we must draw a table. We need a place to put our money. So please draw just a simple table. Please don't tell me that it's three-legged. No, draw just a simple table like that. Don't even put a mat on your table. That's old school. Nowadays, everything is simple. Hakuna maringo squeeze. Everything is simple, right? And of course, wooden, simple things really. Now, on this table of mine, the left leg, what should I put here, somebody? The left leg, what should I borrow? Is it always, ladies and gentlemen, borrowing is very important. All of us in this class, as I teach you finance, ladies and gentlemen, ensure that you are borrowing. And you should always borrow heavily. So I want to imagine that in this particular class, there must be somebody who has a bank loan of, say, 15 million. We must borrow always. If you want to become rich, according to Modigliani and Miller, borrowing, MM2, borrowing will always ensure that you increase your wealth. So always borrow. Lakini hapana fuliza, very expensive. Bank loan, you borrow like, for example, 8 million, you start from there, 8 million. Borrow unajua kuinvest vizuri, you will go places. Problem ni uanze kuchukua hii, alafu anza kupiga simu nasema mwalimu uko wapi? Kuja hapa. Kamata kamoja. Mwingine kamata kamoja. You must know the value of money. For you to be a good investor, you must know the value of money. Value of money. If you don't know the value of money, you're a useless fella. So always, this leg, borrow. This leg, you do what you're somebody. This leg, you do what you're somebody. You sell. Uongo. This leg, we normally invest. Simekuambia namna hiyo. Lazima una borrow ukifikiria about investing. Otherwise, how will you be able to get money to repay back your loan? Just like how Kenya, we keep on borrowing and you're not investing the same. At times, it brings the issues. So you invest, or in this case here, you lend. Etc. And then in between here, we have got something very important. In between here, we have got something very important. In between here, we have got something very important that I will never spot trade. I love that. Convert at spot rate. So convert at spot rate. Convert at spot rate. Now, there is something that these guys haven't told me. Which currency am I going to borrow here? We're in agreement. It's a second rule being used. So we are borrowing local, which you guys told me, euro. So on the other leg, we shall invest the foreign currency. So in this case, you invest foreign, which is the dollar, So you invest foreign currency, which is the dollar. You invest foreign currency, which is the dollar. Is that okay? Great. Now, let's fight in a little bit. Euro is a currency from which country in this question? Don't tell me Germany. In the question that we have, euro is a currency from which country? Euro is a currency from France, isn't it? A currency being used in, yani hapa ni Kifransa. Alafu you, dollar, of course, dollar from the country is given, dollar in US dollar. So, ladies and gentlemen, I would want you guys to be so nice to me and tell me, if I was to borrow in France, the euro, what will be the interest rate? The interest rate of borrowing the France euro from the table given. From the table given, I can see lending, I can see borrowing, and in France, I can see 13%. You guys are great, 13%. So in this case here, 0.13. So you'll get some students for whatever reason that I've never understood. This must be the devil really guiding them, and really we would want to bind the devil away. He should go away. You'll get for whatever reasons, somebody will come and mention here times 4 over 12. When you ask them times 4, why times 4? And yet this time around, we are hedging a risk over how many months? 3 months. This time around, we're talking of 3 months. 3 months. So the time proration has to be times 3 over 12. Plus what here? Somebody plus 1. Right? So 0.13 times 3 over 12 plus 1, which will end up giving me what figure? A new student may be wondering why we're adding this 1. We're adding 1 to take care of compounding. Compounding, where we used to talk over amount equals principal into 1 plus R. Remember this one. For us here, we are cramming. Our exams are 1 month away. So you must, in this case here, know that it's about survival for the fittest. So whatever little things that I can get here to hang around on, so that I don't sink really in this water, so always know it's time proration plus 1. Time proration plus 1, which in this case here, according to Maureen, gives us 10,325, and then we have a decimal there. Now straight away, we run away to the USA. Running away to the USA, US, the dollar. What is the interest rate of the dollar? USA, what is the interest rate of the dollar? USA, what is the interest rate of the dollar? Most of them, like now today, I'm not seeing girls talking to me. Have they said they're not talking to me? Today I'm seeing Bernard. At least Susan has spoken to me. So we have here 0.1 times 3 over 12 plus 1. What do we have there? What do we have here? So we have 1025. So we have 1025 with a tar there. Right. Thank you so much. Ladies and gentlemen, it is after I've done these great things, filling up my legs like that, and then I have, we still have something to do. So the dollar to the euro, Can somebody give me the exchange rate to use here? The dollar to the euro, the dollar to the euro, the dollar to the euro. They have given me dollar to euro. I'm whatever, it doesn't matter really. Dollar to euro. I'm using dollar to euro because of what here the two currencies that we have is euro dollar or euro to dollar. So in this case, ladies and gentlemen, exchange rate, dollar to euro, dollar to euro, dollar to euro. What do we have there? Somebody's not talking to me really. Somebody's not talking to me really. Dollar to euro. Great, Jabir. Great, great. Dollar to euro. 1980, 90, 98, 30, 98, 50. So we have 98, 30, 98, 30, 98, 30, 98, 30, 98, 30 to 98, 50, to 98, 50, to 98, 50 point, like that. Great, great. Now, those students are very bright. Why am I saying they are very bright? Because those students, ladies and gentlemen, have known that in money markets, even if we are talking of dollar to euro or whatever there, in money markets, we can never use the future rate. We can never use the rate called 3 months there. In money markets, we always do our conversions at what here? At spot. In money markets, we always do our conversions at spot. We always do our conversions at spot. We always do our conversions at spot. Now, there is something that you guys haven't yet told me. From the expression of this currency, this one here is supposed to be watt per watt because I must represent. This one here is supposed to be watt per watt. Kabla kutingisa, this one here is supposed to be watt per watt. Somebody. Kabla kutingisa, this one is supposed to be watt per watt. They have told us it is US dollars per watt year per euro. So this one is US dollar. They have told us on top of that table, US dollar per euro. This is US dollar per watt year per euro. US dollar 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 per watt year, somebody per euro. They've told us in that table up there, US dollar per 1 euro per euro. Let me again repeat this for the umpteenth time. Between the US dollar, between the US dollar and the euro, which one is our home currency? Which one is our home currency? Which one is our home currency? It is a euro. Jacques Limited is based in France that uses the euro. So the euro is here on the right side. The home currency is on the right side. And if the home currency is on the right side, then the right figure becomes buy. This right figure becomes the buying rate. This other figure becomes the selling rate. So you have to shake your hand towards your home currency. Our home currency is on the right side. Our home currency is on the right side. If the home currency is on the right side, then this defines my buying rate. My buying rate is on the right side. And if the buying rate is here, then automatically the selling rate is here. There is something that you guys never told me. Remember, the rule that we are using is foreign payment. We borrow local. And you know that the local guy will always do what here? Somebody, I hope there is nobody. I hope there is no lady who is listening to this thing with their husbands. No. They may not take my jokes the way they are. They're not serious. These are things in this case, ladies and gentlemen, that are supposed to do what here? To just guide you, right? So don't bring your husband, come and listen to what this guy is saying. No. You. So sales, isn't it? Meaning that here, we shall use the selling rate. We shall use the selling rate here. The selling rate, because this is a question of a local guy. Selling rate. So selling rate is 0.9830 US dollar per euro. US dollar per euro. I shall use the selling rate. Ladies and gentlemen, I think now I'm through. So the only thing that I need to do is to come and look for the money in the question. The money in the question, how much are we having in this question to hedge? How much do we have in this question to hedge? Do you remember when we began, we set down our net amount? Do you remember when we began, we set down our net amount? It was 171,000. 171,000. 171,000. So this 171,000, what is it to us? Are they dogs? Are they dogs? Are they cars? I love dogs. I love dogs. They're dollars, isn't it? They're dollars. Thank you very much. So if they're dollars, could you kindly again talk to me this morning? In which leg should I put this 171,000? Which leg? Which leg? Which leg? The right side, the borrow side, the dollar, the dollar, the dollar, the dollar. You know, they're $171,000. These students who are telling me to put them under borrow. Really? Which currency do we have under borrowing? The currency that we have under borrowing is the euro. And you want me to account for the dollars. So hizi dollars, kumbuka kwanza, unazia kwa mguu ya dola, na kwa hiyo mguu ya dola, lazima ufiche pesa mbali na ni. You must know the value of what here, the value of money. If you don't know the value of money, you will never be rich. Lazima pesa unaficha pesa chini ya meza kumbali. Don't tempt anybody. Don't tempt your wife. Don't tempt, in this case, your children. Ficha pesa mbali sana. 171,000, 171. I like the symbol Felicitas is using there. Felicitas has been able to pull the Lege thing, which is very good, which reminds me my gym. My gym, yes. Great. So 171,000 US dollars. I'm putting this under the dollar leg. So from there, it's now up. So up, when we're moving up, when we're moving from here upwards, what do? Up we divide, isn't it? Up we are dividing. So you take 171,000 divided by 1.025. So what do we have? Thank you very much. 166, 809. 166, 809 dollar. And remember, don't use the figure that you have in your calculator. Now here we are using this figure the way it is. So we have 166, 829 dollar. So across, now we are using the exchange rate. Across, we are exchanging. So in this case here, across, you are exchanging. When you're exchanging, we need this exchange rate. We know it is 0.9830 US dollar equals 1 euro. So how about in this case here, 171,000 US dollar. So how many euros do we have there? Somebody are cross multiplying. We are taking this 171,000 times 1 divided by 0.9830. Divided by 0.9830. So you're taking 171,000 times 1 divided by 0.9830, which will end up giving me what figure? Somebody there? I always, stupid me. It's good always at times. Yes, we are moving with this figure, I made the same. We are moving with this figure. Thank you very much. You guys are clever. That is how it's supposed to be. Kwa sababu nasema kinachozaliwa ni kizuri kushinda mama. Kinachozaliwa ni kizuri kushinda mama. Lakini akishindi baba. 166, 829 US dollar. US dollar equals who? So unasema this 166 829 US dollar times 1 divided by 0.9830, which will end up giving me what figure, great students? Please remember, in money markets, we don't write decimals. In money markets, we are rich. In money markets, we are very rich people. Nobody goes to money markets to write decimals there. In money markets, when you get decimals there, you should be able to tell those ladies across the counter or those young men across the counter to keep change. So here we don't write. Great. So what do we have here, ladies and gentlemen? I can see very good answers. Unfortunately, today I'm speaking to so few students who are responding. Very many others are not responding. They would need what we call character development to bypass them. What happened? The Sekutuma link was special. Are you, hey, that will be a big problem. What could have happened? Wow. Disaster. I sent to a wrong special revision class. I sent to a wrong special revision class. I sent to a wrong special revision class. Great. Okay. So final answer, they're saying the final answer is what here, somebody? They're saying that the final answer is one. So of course, no. Let's move slowly. So this to here, this to here. What are we getting, somebody here? This to here. This to here. The one that we have here, 166,829 times 1 divided by 0.9830, 169,714, isn't it? So here we have 169,714. Now they are euros. Now they are euros. Now they are euros. And then now down, what do we do? Down, what do we do? We multiply. When you're moving downwards, you multiply. So in this case here, the figure that I will get here, I'll come and multiply. Here I'm going down. So this times this figure, what figure are we getting here, somebody? What figure are we getting here, somebody? 175, 230. 175, 230 US dollar. Not US dollar, the euro. The euro. The euro. Like that. Great. And of course, this is the final answer that I will highlight. This is the final answer. 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 Great, 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 great. This is the final answer. And that is where we are. So Consolator is asking where we got this 166,829. It is upward movement. Upward you do, you take this 171,000, you divide with this. You take this, divide with this, you'll be able to get that, like that. Okay, so special apologies to my special revision students. I sent this link here to a different group. I must be a crazy one. I don't know what happened. I sent this link to a different group, but now here we are. I can see somebody there saying, today I'm very disappointed. Never be disappointed. Never be disappointed. Don't be disappointed by anybody, by anything. This class has a video. You get a video immediately after this. After all, perhaps even what we are discussing may not come in an exam. You should never, ever be disappointed. You should never rely on a human being. 100%. Human beings are full of mistakes. Full of mistakes. So to avoid disappointments in life, always rely on God. Nevertheless, let's repeat this concept by looking at a different question. Looking at a different question so that when they watch now the video, plus this other question, everything will be okay, so that all of us will be reading from the same page. So we look at Kadzenga, May 2019, question number 4A. 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 Yes, we have now finished 3 months. Yes, we have finished 3 months. I don't want to bring in the issue of forward contract now. No, we're only dealing with money markets. First of all, become very good with money markets, and then we shall be able to now look at the other hedging techniques for purposes of making a decision. We are picking these questions and solving them using money markets. Great. So do we have this question now? 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 Yes or no? Do we have the question? 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 Yes, that's Leah. Yes. Sorry. I think I'll need Steve, if possible, be helping me there. There are students who still want. Consolata, you'll have to watch videos. I've done so many videos on this. You'll have to watch videos, and of course, probably after we finish doing this question, you'll be able to know why up and down. You have to watch the video. You have to watch the video, and after this, most probably you'll be able to know. Great. So May 2019, question number 4A, Kadizenga Limited is a Kenyan company with a substantial proportion of its trade with companies in the US. Kadizenga Limited invoiced a US firm $60,000 US. Receivable how many months from now? 3 months. So this 60,000 to me is a genuine receivable. Why? Because Kadizenga is a Kenyan company, and we are told in this case here that they've sold goods to a firm based in the US. So they exported. It's an export. So this is a receivable. This is a receivable. And if it's a receivable, I remember my money market rules. There are only 2 of them. Which rule between the 2 am I going to use this time around, given that this is a receivable? Yeah, coverage is the same as what? Yeah, a hedge. Is the same as a hedge. You know, to hedge yourself is to protect yourself, to ring fence yourself, to cover yourself, right? So in this case here, I'm going to make use of what here? Foreign boyfriend rule. So this is the foreign boyfriend rule. It's foreign receivable. It is foreign receivable. Foreign receivable. For foreign receipts, always borrow foreign. And then you remember that this foreign boyfriend of yours always does what? He always buys. Always buys dinner. That's how you remember this. All right. All right. And I know the amount. I know the amount here is 60,000. So the next thing that I need to do is to come and draw, draw my table. I draw my table. And when I draw my table, I know that the first leg here, I'll come and write borrow. The other leg, I'll come and write what here somebody invest there. Now, we have got 2 currencies involved. Which currencies are these? Given the business, international business that you're able to see here, we've got 2 currencies involved. Which currencies are these? Which currencies are these? Kenya shillings versus US dollar. Kenya shillings versus US dollar. Kenya shillings versus US dollar. Now, given the rule that we have here, which currency between the 2? So we have got 2 currencies. We have Kenya shillings, we have got the dollar there, Kenya shillings and the dollar there. So between the 2 currencies here, which currency, if you interpret this very well, I'll be very happy. Which currency in this case here should I borrow this time round? Which currency should I borrow? Which currency should I borrow? Mas is saying US dollar. David is saying foreign, which is very good. We are borrowing. Foreign receivable, foreign receipt, you borrow foreign. So in this case here, so this is the foreign one. This other one here is the local like that. So in short, I'm going to borrow foreign. I'm going to borrow foreign, meaning that I'm going to borrow US dollars. I'm going to borrow US dollars. And then invest now will be the other currency. We change like that. We change like that. So in invest, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to have here Kenya shillings like that. Right? Right? Kenya shillings. And then I can even start with this. The money in the question is 60,000 US dollar. 60,000 US dollar. In which foot, in which leg should I put this 60,000? If of course, I know I'm supposed to hide this money underneath the table, always underneath the table. So this 60,000 US dollar, can I come and put them here, for example? No, it has to be in the foot of a US dollar. It has got to be here. This is 60,000 US dollar, 60,000 US dollar, because this is the leg over US dollars like that. Ladies and gentlemen, could you kindly tell me then, borrowing the foreign currency, borrowing US dollar will need me to pay what percentage interest in a year? What is the borrowing rate of a US dollar? This requires you to think a little bit. This required these students here to think a little bit. to think a little bit. So those students who fear to think, this one here, they really were distracted. They came out of that exam room cursing, seriously. %, 7%. So we have here the base. I can write this as a separate working. So base, we have the base, we have the borrowing, and then we have the investing. So we have here Kenya, we have here USA. So they have told us, ladies and gentlemen, that from note number 1, the borrowing rate is 3% above the bank base rate, while the investing rate is 2% below the bank base rate. These rates apply both in Kenya and in the US. The bank base rates in Kenya is 15%. Base in Kenya is 15%. And then in the US we have 10%, the base, like that. And then they are telling us, ladies and gentlemen, that the borrowing rate is 3% above the base rate. The borrowing rate is 3% above for both countries. So 3%, I add to this, I get 18%. Here I get 13%. Borrowing rate is 3% above. And then investing rate, they're telling us investing rate is 2% below. So minus 2%. 2% below the base. We're deducting them from the base. So 15% minus 2% gives me 13%. 10% minus 2% gives me what there? 8%. 8%. So in an exam situation, would have you guys interpreted this thing correctly? You guys, would have you interpreted this thing correctly? It would have been a tongue twister. It would have been a tongue twister. If can't I a tie? Why can't I tie a tie? As can't I a tie? Base rate. Great. Now let's come here. So if I'm borrowing the US dollar now from this, if I'm borrowing the US dollar, which percentage should I use? If I'm borrowing the US dollar, it has to be from the borrowing column. US dollar, so USA, 13%. Thank you very much. So 0.13 times 3/12, because it's a 3 months hedge, plus 1. How about investing Kenya shillings? Investing Kenya shillings. So investing Kenya shillings, here we have 0.13 times 3/12 plus 1 times 3/12 plus 1 times 3/12 plus 1. Ladies and gentlemen, from that, so I would want you guys to do what here to give me these figures. And if you don't mind, please allow me to rub this. Yeah, I'm rubbing this, I'm rubbing this. Rub it. Thank you so much. Great. So come here, ladies and gentlemen, please give me these figures. So this one will be 1 point what? The first one. The first one will be 10,325. 10,325. The first one is 10,325, right? First one is 10,325. Thank you so much. How about the second one? Are they any different? How about the second one? Nope. They're telling me, Mwalimu, this should be 10,325. Put a decimal there. Now, there is only one thing that you guys haven't done. You guys have not told me that on top of the table where exchange happens, when you go to Isli market will get, in this case here, people putting tables, right? And then they'll always have some dollars here. They put their money on the table, especially if you go to like Hargeisa or Somaliland. Those guys are, I don't know what they do. They are very bright people. You haven't told me that here on top of the table is where conversion happens. So, and I know I always convert at spot rate. But now this spot rate, ladies and gentlemen, again there, I can assure you some tongue twisting because not many will be able to give me the correct metric to use there. So what figure should I use there, somebody? What figure should I use there? What figure should I use there, somebody? Somebody, please help me out. Please help me out. So for conversion, what figure should I use there for conversion? When I say my spot exchange rate 103 to 105. Spot exchange rate 103 to 105. Spot exchange rate. So the spot given here, the spot given there is 103 to 105 Kenya shillings per dollar. And I've not seen students in this case here shaking their hands. I've not seen students shaking their hands really. I haven't seen students shaking their hands. Thank you very much. They are telling me that Kenya shilling is on the left side. Kenya shilling is the home currency. It's on the left side. And if it's on the left side, then these 103 will be defined as the buy rate. So this becomes buy, and this becomes who? Sell. This becomes buy, and the other one becomes who? Sell. So buy and do what here? Buy and sell. Buy and sell. Buy and sell like that. There is one thing that you guys told me which is very important. A foreign boyfriend buys. A foreign boyfriend buys. A foreign boyfriend buys. So in this case here, I should be able to use the buying rate. I should be able to use here 103 Kenya shillings per dollar. There is one day some student told me, I think he was just absent-minded. He told me, but Mwalimu, 103 is Kenya shilling. And then 105 is what is the dollar? So I asked him why. But we have to split it. No. Both of them are exchange rates. Both of them are exchange rates like that. So we have here 103 like that. 103, 103, 103, 103 Kenya shillings per dollar. And then now look at this. Now it is about getting this money from here, and then you take it here. You take it here. Another student some time back told me, Mwalimu, why can't you use just abracadabra? Abracadabra, and then you transfer this money. There is no shortcut there. You must move up, go across, go down. So consolata up move means like that. You're moving up. And when you're moving up, we always do what here, somebody? When you're moving up, we always divide. When you'll be moving down, you'll always do what here? You'll always multiply. You'll always multiply like that. Thank you so much. So we have 60,000 divided by 1.0325. Can somebody give me a number to write? 5811, 111 dollars. 58,111 dollars. So how about from here now, moving across? I have an exchange rate. Can somebody give me what to write here? I have an exchange rate. 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 In between there, I have an exchange rate. Don't tell me that exchange rate always multiply. No. You must use some logic there. You must use some logic there. You must use some logic. You must use some logic. So you're saying from this exchange rate, 103 Kenya shillings per dollar. So then this will be 103 Kenya shillings equals $1. $1. How about 58? How about 58,111 dollars? So when you cross multiply, what do we have here? When you cross multiply, it will be 103 times 58,111, like that, which in this case here gives us a 5985. 5985. 5985 333. 5985 333. I'm so sure there are students who are still making use of their decimal points. Please never use decimal points in your calculator. Once you say you round off to a whole number, come and pick this number the way it is. The way it is. Times this 103. So if your figure doesn't have a 3 here, I'm so sure that you never took my advice keenly. You never took my advice keenly. 433, yeah? 433. So this one here, we have 433. This one here, we have 400. Sharon, 59, 8, 54K, 59, 854. 59, 854, 59, 854, 59, 854, 433. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Now, Consolata, we are moving from here, falling down. You're jumping over. So you'll take this times this. This times this. falling down. So what is the final figure that we have here? What is the final figure that we have here? I'm being given 61.79. Thank you so much. 61.79, 61.79, 61.79, 61.79, 61.79, 61.79, 61.79, 960, 960, 960, 960, 960, 960. Keeps the moment you start losing figures, I know you're making use of the decimals. You're not taking these figures the way they are. Kenya shillings. Thank you very much, CLA. Kenya shillings. So you underscore this. So you underscore this. You underscore this. You underscore this. And really, this is the money market. This is the money market figure. I'll be able to show you how to tackle the other questions like forward money contracts or forward covers, whatever. And then how do we make a decision? 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 So apart from the hiccup, which was brought by my forgetting, what are my special students? I'm sorry for that. Apart from that, it has been a wonderful morning. So I would want to take this opportunity to wish you guys, why are you using same interest rate, Abdi? Okay. There's a table you are drawn, Abdi, here really. It's not a coincidence. There's a table we are drawn here. If you remember, there's a table that we drew. There's a table that we drew here. There's a table that we drew here. Remember, there's a table that we drew here, which I had a base. We have borrowing, and then we have investing. There's a table we drew here. And then we had two countries. We had Kenya here, and then we have USA. If you remember, the base, given note number one. It's given in note number one. The base is what here? The base borrowing rate, no, not two. The base is 15% for Kenya. And what percentage here for US? 10%. And then the borrowing rate in note number one, they told us borrowing rate is 3% above. So the borrowing rate is 3% above. So you're adding. So this gave us 18%, and then USA 13%. And then investing rate they're telling you is 2% less. So 2% minus this gives us 13%, 8% like that, 8% like that. Now, ladies and gentlemen, most importantly there, most importantly there, we are told, most importantly there, we are told there, 15%, yes, this is the final table. Now come here, on this leg, what do you want? You want to borrow a US dollar. So borrowing the US is what here? 13%. Borrowing in the US is 13%. So you write 13% here. Come here, you want to invest in Kenya shilling. So investing Kenya shilling, Abdi, are you able to see this? 13%. It's rare getting the same percentages, of course, but at the end of the day, it is what it is. There's a coincidence there. So it's about logic. It's logic, yes. Great. Now I can see a student in this case here. Where are you getting the 61.79? Where are we getting the 69? We took this 59, 85, 433 times, because you're moving down, times some figure that was here, which I can't remember very well, that times 1.0325, 1.0325. That's how we got that figure there. So the students who are asking these very many questions, thank you very much. But we have videos, which I'll be able to send to you right now. I'll be able to send them to you right now. Please ensure that you watch those videos. This thing will become what here? Very easy. Very easy. Now, great. So now we have come. I've seen another student asking whether this topic of APV that we are doing, whether it completed. No. Remember, this early morning class is a very important class. The early morning class on Saturdays, we shall be using it to cover international finance throughout. You write this at the back of your book. That's what we agreed. I should be having a class rep, a class representative. We should be reminding students what we are doing. On Saturday morning, we shall only be talking one language. We shall only be talking about borrow, lend, etc. International finance. Okay. Great. So before I send you those videos, there are